Aloha and welcome to Maunalua Past, Present, and Future. My name is Luka Zavas, and I am with Livable Maunalua Hui. Today we are joined by the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society, who is here to talk about to share the joy of birds, and we have Susan Scott as our guest. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society with our viewers?
Sure. I wrote a column called Ocean Watch for the Honolulu Star-Advertiser for 32 years. It was a weekly column, and sometimes my background is marine biology from the University of Hawaii in Manoa, and people would ask me questions about the kolea.
Okay.
And I was mostly had more knowledge about seabirds than shorebirds, but I would get questions, and then someone would tell me about this Dr. Wally Johnson, who was in Bozeman, who'd spent his life studying the birds. So I would contact him, get the answers. He'd send me back the answers that he knew from his published journal articles about things he had learned about the birds, and then I would put that in the column. And so over the years, I got really interested in the birds and became friends with Wally. And so I joined the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society in the late 80s. And then I wasn't really super involved in it. I was doing more marine things and writing my column and writing my books. But then eventually, after COVID, the board of directors elected me the president of Hawaiʻi Audubon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so after COVID, like a lot of other things, we were sort of starting over. So my idea for becoming the president and for carrying Audubon forward was to share the joy of birds, all birds, not just endangered species, because Hawaii has a really negative reputation when you talk about birds, because the first thing people think of is the extinction capital of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our thing. So I think too, all birds deserve respect, and that we can love them all, whether they were introduced or not. And they're sort of gateway birds. So we live with these birds that people have brought here, and the reason they brought them here was because our birds were going extinct. They were not around people's yards or gardens anymore in the places we lived. And so they imported them from all over the world. And so when I looked at the past records of Hawaiʻi Audubon, that was one of the things that people were doing was sharing the joy of a bird. So they brought the red-crested cardinals from South America. And I read an article that from the old Elapaio, the Hawaiʻi Audubon Journal, that said, we're so excited. We went hiking in Manoa. We saw that there were red-crested cardinal chicks.
Oh, wow.
So they were really excited that they were reproducing.
Yeah.
And so I think we can share that joy of all the birds that we see here. And that's sort of our gateway birds to help us appreciate the native birds and how to save them. The other thing that I thought too is we do have native birds doing really well.
Yeah.
There's a few species that are doing great, and those three are the ones that I think we can talk about a little today.
Yeah, so talking about like the gateway birds and things like that, when I was younger, I didn't know about the EEV or even the apapane or anything like that, or the wetland birds like the alaiʻula, which I told you that I love so much now. It was the shama, it was the Java finch, it was those kinds of birds that like first got me curious about birds and learning more about them. So, if those are the ones that get you into the thing, and then then you can expand out from there. That is really amazing.
Exactly. I just gave a talk last week to the Wahiawa Rainbow Seniors.
Oh.
And I said, oh, yeah, they have a group that they meet. And I said, what would you like me to talk about? And they said, myna birds and bulbuls and doves. And I said, fine, that's great. So I had to put together a new slideshow, PowerPoint for that. But I thought, too, those are the birds they see in Wahiawa. And so we had a really good time. But Yeah.
That's a good mix of
It was good.
birds.
It was very, very good.
And so you mentioned the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society had been, posting the Elapaio newsletter and things like that. But I don't think everybody knows like how the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society came to be. So if you don't mind just going a little bit over the history of the organization.
Yeah, I'd love to, because the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society was created in 1939, and so that's one of the oldest conservation organizations in Hawaii. And it was a branch of National Audubon, which was started in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And so currently there are 415 branches, chapters, they call them, of Audubon. So each state has several, mostly each city or area has its own. And Hawaii only has one, and that's based on Oahu. And one of the things we'd like to do is expand that to other islands. We don't want to only be Oahu.
Yeah.
But as you know, it's hard to get to the other islands and,
just a little
and
bit.
share what we're doing. But we're doing that. We have a wonderful board member in Kona, and he takes people on bird tours, and when visitors come, he helps them find places to go. And we also have friends and other bird organizations that we're working with on Maui and Molokai and Kauai. So that's something that we're really trying to expand on. But the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society is really a conservation organization and an awareness. The big thing that they started in 1939 and said in the very first minutes of the meeting is we must educate our young people, or we don't have anything in the future, which we all know. But so one of my ideas, we have a fabulous outreach coordinator named Elena Arinaga, and she and I and all the volunteers go to schools, and we really have a good time with that.
To share the joy of birds.
To share the joy of birds, and to just teach the kids, our students and people who live here and are going to grow up here, what the native birds are and what the introduced birds. So one of the things we did this last year was make bird costumes.
Yes.
And so I thought, if you have someone come out in a manua ku, a white tern costume, it really makes an impression in the kids.
We just had the Manuaku Festival earlier in May, and I saw the Manuaku come out with its little baby in a basket that was so cute. And then all the kids too. There was like Elapaio, there was a minor bird. I think there's also a green sea turtle, which isn't a bird, but
that's our. It's
so
still native
cute.
Wildlife, right. And we have a kolea.
And a kolea.
Yeah, a fabulous artist, Kathy James, and she is one of the artists who makes costumes for the Hawaii Opera Theater. So they're very professional, very beautiful costumes, and so we bring those sometimes to the events.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
I think you just want to celebrate the great things that we have here.
And then kids say like, I met a kolea.
Yeah, exactly. And they all want to touch it and stand next to it. So,
so cool. And I remember reading that you guys also do sponsor, not just going out to school groups and things like that, but also sponsor research and citizen science and stuff like that.
Yes, and so we're concentrating on those three species. So the Manuaku has a Hui Manuaku, and that's a website, and people volunteer. It's run by Rich Downs, his fabulous biologist worker, and he organizes people to rescue the chicks that have fallen off the branch, because Manuaku don't build a nest.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Right, I know. There's one of the few birds that nests in a tree with no nest. I say breed in a tree. You try not to say the word nest for those birds. But
I see.
The chicks are hatched with really big claws and feet and hang on, usually.
For dear life.
For dear life, right, from the minute they hatch. But Rich and his team, large team of volunteers, put blue ribbons around the trunks of trees.
I've seen them around.
Yeah, so when you see that, that means that there's an active nest, an active breeding thing going on. Yeah. There's parents and a chick. And then when that chick flies away, they take the blue ribbon off.
Okay.
So it's really an active, wonderful program. And that's a citizen science program. And so people watch how long it takes the chick to hatch, when the parents laid an egg, record those things.
So having no nest is actually really beneficial for the
that.
citizen science
Especially
thing.
if you live or work in a place that's a high rise, you can look right in at the
so
chick.
cool.
And I have seen several people record the whole thing with their cameras and then put books together of here's the parents, and they laid an egg, then they hatched. And it's really an amazing thing, yeah. So having no nest is easy to see.
Easy to
and
see
then
that.
when the chick falls and they rescue it, they know where it was,
Okay.
and they can get it back in that space.
Yeah.
And if you put it anywhere around that space, the parents find it.
Oh, okay.
So it's better than having to get it back in a nest.
Okay,
Right.
as long as it's in the general,
Yeah, it's in the general
branch
area. Right.
kind of
They
thing.
talk to each other. So.
That's cool. And so that's
And
the Manuaku, and you had
Manuaku.
2 other birds, yeah?
The other one that I manage is the Kolea count
Okay.
system, and people asked a lot of questions. Are they increasing, decreasing? Where are they? Are there more on the east side of the island than the west? And so Wally would say, we don't know. But the great thing was when I was writing my column, and now people tell me all these stories. Is that I've had one for 8 years. He comes to my yard. He arrives every year at a certain time. So he said, well, let's get that written down. Those are reports.
Yeah.
And we get enough reports, we can actually find out, some information about them in general. And so we've got 5 years now going, and it's called koleacount.org. And if you just type in Kolea, it'll come up. And then there's instructions there of how to join, where to count, how to count. It's very easy, and it's fun. So what I do is I have places that people haven't signed up.
Yeah.
I just go there, like on an afternoon, and say, where is this place? I don't really know, up in Waipahu somewhere. And then I find out some really cool, interesting parks or places that, I don't usually go to because I live in Kailua.
Yeah.
So it's been great for a lot of us have done that, and sort of gets us out. One counter this year said he went to 100 different places.
Wow.
A visitor who spends the winters here.
Yeah.
And they really had a great time.
100 different
Yeah.
places.
And then the third species we have are seabird, uakani, the wedge-tailed shearwaters, and they nest on they're ground nesters, so they're very vulnerable to cats and mongooses. They nest on the islands around Oahu.
Yes.
And they nest in the Northwest Hawaiian Islands. And they also nest in Black Point, in this one plot that was donated to the Hawaiʻi Audubon Society. And we had 400 eggs last year, so that's 800 adults.
Oh.
And that is sort of an educational area that Dr. David Harenbach from HPU brings his graduate students there. They measure and weigh a certain number of chicks in a certain area. And it's really a great place to be able to handle and see. He has permits to handle them, and he's very generous with it. So we bring scouts and students, and you can arrange it. It's a gated, private community.
Yes.
So we can't bring like a busload of people, but we try to be sensitive to the neighbors. At the same time, we want to be able to share that. The
so
wonderful joy of being able to hold a little seabird and then put it back in its nest.
So I worked with Dr. Melissa Price was my lab person.
Yeah.
So I went on one of her banding things, and I swear, sticking my hand into the nest to grab the bird was the scariest thing that I had ever done, because you're actually waiting for something to bite you.
Was it shearwaters?
I think it was maybe the Wa'ukani, but it was the shearwater.
Yeah.
And so we pulled them out and got to band them and everything. It was, like you said, just actually holding was amazing.
So, it's such a rare privilege, really. Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yes.
I'm glad you got to do that.
Thank you.
And then you kind of get used. When they do bite you, it's not very painful. So you got to get your mind is like, it's just going to be a scratch and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the sticking your hand into the unknown. But yeah, they were so cute. I think maybe not the kani, but I think some of them have started to nest around Kailua Beach and in places where people are too.
Yes.
So it's not a bird that you just don't see around. But
We've seen them on the mokumanus are full of nests, and so they land on the beaches sometimes, the chicks, when they're fledging in the fall.
Oh.
And so people in Kailua really know a lot
Get to know
about
them a lot.
too. Right.
Oh, that's so cool. And so you kind of talked a little bit about how Audubon Society connects people you talked about doing those, doing the citizen science and things like that. But and not just the big events like the Manuoku Festival, but how else do you guys connect the birds with the people?
Well, we have another Welcome Home Kalea Festival in September at Magic Island.
Okay.
And so we had our first one last year, and it was so successful. Our costume was new, and we had volunteers wearing it. But also, people are just walking around Magic Island anyway. But this year, we're going to advertise it a little more, and that's our other festival besides the Manuka. But we go to events like Ho'omalahia, Wahiwa Botanical Gardens. We have talks and give PowerPoint presentations to different things. And there's almost always something going on. There's the Punahou Sustainability Fair, and so we always try to get a table in these places. But now that we've been out for the couple years doing this, we're getting more and more invitations.
That's awesome.
Like this one from you.
Yeah,
so
and you're going to come to our World Wetlands Day next year.
World Wetlands Day, we're going to partner, with you and your group.
And I remember when we were talking in before, you just had gone to like schools and stuff. So if any teachers want to like pick your brain or like start to teach their kids about the different birds, they can connect with you, and either you or Elena will go out.
Well, if they just contact us on events for the Hawaiʻi Audubon website, it's on the front page. Contact Elena, and then she'll set up a time when we can come to the classroom. And those classroom trips are really fun. We have different volunteers who come help her.
Do you get the kids to do calls with you too, bird calls and things?
Not bird calls as much as we have them draw a bird, because when you draw a bird, then you remember they have 3 toes. If we draw a kalea, and so we have a system that they can draw the head and the beak. They have 2 beaks, and especially with the younger kindergarten and first graders, they really love it. And we've got pictures that they've done afterwards, so that's really fun.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is fun. yeah. And games. We have bird games.
Ooh.
So they have to match the bird with where they nest.
Oh, cool.
So like the kalea would be Alaska. You have a picture of this snowy place, and those sorts of things. But I think it really does make impression, and you never know which child you're going to completely change their life. Because we've all had those experiences, and you think back and think, I hope that person, that teacher, or that neighbor realizes what an impression that made on me. And I always think that when we're in these classrooms. We were at Maryknoll this morning, and I thought maybe one of these kids is going to say, I'm going to be a bird biologist when I grow up.
Yes.
Yes.
As long as we have a couple every classroom you go to, we'll have a whole group that are coming around and protecting the birds.
Exactly.
And so we take care of Livable Maunalua Hui, take care of the birds and the water birds in Maunalua area. And so I'm thinking that a lot of our folks that are watching our show are from the area too, or are want to learn more about Maunalua. So what kind of birds would they be able to see in Maunalua?
Well, great question. I think Paiko Lagoon is a great place to see all the native water birds. Okay. And so that's a really good place. Kaiwi Coastline is another really good place to go, and the wetlands that that you're working in. But there's water birds in places that you might not even expect them. And so I know in Moanalua there's water areas that the birds don't know if people live there or if they're wetlands or what. So I think it's a good thing just to keep your eye out, because in Kailua on Hamakua Street, I've seen them near Foodland. Yeah. I mean, they're out walking around.
They don't realize that's a road.
That's a road.
Sometimes I'm just like, please don't cross that road.
That's right. I did rescue one. I have rescued them. But the stilts and the moorhens, and they all have lots of different names. Yeah. But the water birds are really, really good to see in Paiko Lagoon.
Yeah. And I always ask my friend to like drive me when we're going down the Kaiwi coastline, because I want to look out the window to be like, oh, look, there's a booby, or oh, look, there's a Kua'e'ula or Ka'ekea and things like that, because you should not be bird watching
Right.
when you're driving.
That's right, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the trouble of driving around the Halona blowhole area.
It's so pretty because they'll just like glide
and the
right
birds,
there.
right.
Yeah, so when, I don't remember, it had whiskers. It was black, it had whiskers. It had come from South America to the blowhole area. My friend and I, we were like, we're taking a trip to go see what it was. I can't remember the name, but if I remember, I will let you know.
Okay.
And so we're just going through the springy, going into summer season.
Right.
So there's some like awesome bird behaviors that people should be looking out for.
Yeah, the my personal, interest, because I'm running the Kalea account, is who didn't migrate.
Okay.
Because a couple people have asked questions about the birds that are left over. They all left the end of April.
Yes.
Or early May. And they usually leave in flocks. So if they leave your yard, it doesn't mean they went to Alaska. It means they may have gone to a gathering.
Okay.
And we want to know, where are the gatherings?
Okay.
Now that's gone. I mean, it's May
Yes.
already, but there's a few that are left.
Okay.
And if they're still here the end of May and June, we really want to know that.
Okay.
We want to know where they are, and if you see them over and over, or if they aren't territorial, when they didn't migrate, or are they going to stay in the same place?
Oh, that's cool.
We don't really know.
Okay.
And so that's on Kalea account, and there's a thing in there it's called summering over.
Yes.
It means they didn't go.
So you can be like, I still have a kalea in my front
Right,
yard.
and I just talked to someone who said, I've seen 2 kalea in Mililani, and I think, please write down where they are. Put that in the database for us. And it's a really easy form to fill out. It just says, where you saw it, and which thing to put it in. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll keep a lookout.
And the white tern, the Maunalua Hui, are nesting year round, breeding year round. But this is a high season right now. So you want to look for the blue bands, but also, if you find a chick, call the number on the blue bands.
I also learned that if you just see the blue band and then a big white spot on the ground,
that's right. They have white droppings. That's right. I just saw that today too, near Punahou. I thought, there's white terns up here, because you look down on the sidewalk.
All white.
Right. They have white droppings because they only eat fish.
Oh, I didn't know it was just because of that.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
And so we're talking about all the love and joy that we have for the birds, but there are some harms and things that could hurt them.
Right.
And so if you don't mind sharing just a little bit of what's kind of putting some pressure, maybe not so much on the non-native birds, but some of the reasons why we don't have so much native birds around us and in our backyards.
Right. Well, the big thing is disease. And so our native forest birds are really susceptible to avian malaria. And that is one of the reasons, and people didn't know that for a long time, but we do know now that some are getting some resistance. The apapane do better.
And the amakihis.
And the amakihi are doing better with resistance to that, but the other forest birds are not. So the mosquito program called Birds Not Mosquitoes is really important to support, because the mosquitoes, as the planet warms, the mosquitoes are able to go higher and higher into the mountains, and that's the last haven for some of our forest birds. So that's really a big one for the forest birds, but for the birds that we live with, the Maunalua Hui and the Kalea and the Uakani, those are cats and mongooses, and those are pets. The cats are pets, and so it's kind of a hard. I mean, we all love animals. I think it's animal lovers disagreeing with other animal lovers. I mean, we're all sort of in the same boat, but we have different ideas of how to deal with the cats. The big thing Audubon is promoting and trying to kind of make a mindset is you don't have to let your cat out by itself.
No, you can.
You can leash the cat or get a catio.
Yeah.
So they can be outside. But I have 2 neighbors who always put a little harness on the cat, and then they walk around, and the cats love it because that means they go out.
Yeah.
So we do that with our dogs, and I think it's just a new way of thinking about our pet cats.
Yeah.
And of course the mongooses are here. There's not much we can do about the mongoose.
I have hopes that one day we can be like Hawaii, which is like almost literally mongoose free.
Right, it is really nice, yes, because when you go there, there's nene everywhere.
Yeah.
And chicks and walking
and
around.
birds. Yeah, so, and then we had kind of mentioned, kind of finding that sweet spot between knowing that, you know, some of these spaces are homes that the birds can only live in, that there's really nowhere else for them to live, and being like, we need to protect those spaces.
Right.
And, you know, like cats are introduced, and a lot of, you know, them have diseases and things like that. So as much as we can to protect them, to help care for them, to bring them into our homes, and, you know, things like that would be really great. And teaching them to be on a leash. My sister's still working on it.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
They'll get it.
Yeah.
Rats are another problem, and those have been here since Polynesian colonists. And so, no one likes rats. I mean, I think we all try to have rat traps and things around. And I think that's one of the theories of why the Manuku are doing well in the city. They're only in Honolulu, from Hawaii Kai to Maunalua to Pearl Harbor. Yeah. And they like it here, and one of the theories is that it's because there aren't as many rats and cats and mongooses in the cities. Nice. And also we trim the trees. Oh, so they can fly up. Yeah, they can fly up under into these big canopies, right?
Yeah. So before we end, I just want to see how people can connect with you and get to be a part of your guys' organization, or come out to any of the wonderful bird tours that you guys give.
Okay. Well, if you just Google Audubon, and you don't even have to spell it right. It's Audubon. That website will come up, and what we on the website is a membership. You can join us, and that's an annual membership. It's very reasonable. You'll get our newsletter. We're the only one with our own
Your
birds,
book.
Hawaii's birds.
Yes.
And we also have a journal that you get online that it's every 2 months, and it's because of bird happenings in Hawaii. And so it also has all the 3 citizen science projects that I mentioned are all on there. It's what we do. It says what we do.
Oh, cool.
But joining us as a member is really helpful.
Awesome. And so, so again, the book has beautiful photos in there and a little bit of tidbit about the different birds.
Right.
I don't have this one, but I have kind of fallen in love with my bird book just to teach me just a little bit about the birds. If you ever want to see a baby Java finch, it is in that book.
Yeah,
it's a new bird that I learned. But thank you so much, Susan, for joining me today.
It's my pleasure.
And I had such a fun time talking about birds. I wish we could talk a little bit more. And I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for listening in and for joining us to learn more about Hawaiʻi Audubon Society and all that they're doing to share the joy of birds with everybody all around. And thank you to Ōlelo for hosting us. I hope you have a wonderful day. Ahuiho.